Greg!
All right, this is ATN's book club. It is August 25th, 2022. It is, what is this, round 14 of our readings of the Poetic Eddas, I believe. And we are reading, I'm going to butcher it again. I tried to say it earlier. Harbathsljoth. Somebody else try it.
Harbathsljoth, I think.
Is it Harbathsljoth?
Harbathsljoth. I don't think you have to say the J. I don't think you do. Maybe.
You guys are way closer than I was, I think. Where's our friend that was on point, 2 sessions ago?
Charlie.
Yes, Charlie. All right. I'm going to let you guys take it away. We've already grouped up our readings for anybody that's joining us on our recorded sessions and catching up tonight. We have some volunteers already sectioned out, and I'm going to let them take it away.
Do you want me to read the intro real quick?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
All right. Harbathsljoth, literally Greybeard's Song, is a relatively long poem in which Odin, in the disguise of the ferryman Greybeard, denies Thor passage on his ferry. The two exchange heated words that clearly compare and contrast the two gods' deeds, attitudes, and reputations, often ending with their respective boasts with the question, "Vad nu methan? What were you doing meanwhile?" By stanza 24, Greybeard has more or less admitted he is Odin, and Thor seems to understand his true identity as well, though he never addresses Greybeard as Odin. In stanza 26, there is a reference to Thor's journey to meet Utgarda Loki, told in the Prose Edda, in which Thor and his companions sleep inside the glove of a truly huge giant. Harbathsljoth appears in both the Codex Regius and in the manuscript AM 748-42. The prose introduction is original. Thor was coming back from the east and came to a fjord. On the other side of the fjord was a ferryman with his boat. Thor called out,
"Who is that man who stands on the other side of the fjord?"
"Who is that man who calls across the water?"
"Take me across the water, and I'll give you... I'm carrying a basket on my back, and you'll find no better food. I ate in peace before I left home. And I'm..."
You cut out a little bit for me.
You want me to do the whole thing over again?
No. Did you cut out for anybody else? The last 2 lines cut out.
Correct. You did cut up at the end.
Yep.
I had some herring, and I'm so full from that.
Oh, alright. You're boasting about your breakfast, but you don't know if your homecoming will be glad. I think your mother is dead.
Thor said, "You're telling me news that would seem bad to anybody."
We're having issues with your connection there, my dear.
Can you guys hear me better now?
So far, it was just the last line that cut out that time.
All right. Thor said, "You are telling me news that would seem bad to anybody."
Damn it. You don't look like a man who owns good farms. There you stand, barefoot like a beggar, not even a good pair of pants on.
Thor said, "Row that boat over here. I'll show you the landing. Who owns that ship that you're on?"
A man named Hedolf asked me to run the ferry, a wise and provident man who lives in Rathsay-Yarsand. He asked me not to give rides to beggars or horse thieves, only good people, and those I know well. Tell me your name if you want to cross the fjord.
"I'll tell you my name. I'm no criminal. I'm a good family. And Mag, warrior of the gods. You're talking to Thor here. Now I'll ask in turn. What is your name?"
Greybeard is my name. I rarely lie about that.
"Why would anyone lie about that except to conceal some crime?"
Whether or not I committed crimes, I'd still want to defend my life against people like you, unless my fated day had come.
It seems like a shame for me to wade over there to get at you and my pants get wet. But I'll pay you back, slanderer, for these nasty words if I get over this fjord.
I'll stand right here and wait for you. I think I'll be your toughest enemy since Hrungnir.
You want to talk about when I killed Hrungnir? That arrogant giant with a stone head? I knocked him down. I laid him. What were you doing meanwhile, Greybeard?
I was with Fjolvar for 5 years on the island called Algron. We were waging war, killing warriors, proving ourselves, and sampling the local ladies.
How did the women treat you?
We had some girls who liked to kick, but sometimes they would act docile. We had wise women too, and sometimes they were loyal. Some of them wound some thread from a valley out of the sand. I made them all submit to my will. I slept with 7 sisters, had all their charms to myself. What were you doing meanwhile, Thor?
Killed Thiassi, the bold giant. I threw the eyes of that son of Alvaldi into the clear sky. Those are the greatest monuments to my deeds, which everyone can see ever since. What were you doing meanwhile, Greybeard?
Great seductions. In the night, I was ridden by women stolen from their husbands. I think Hlebarth was a strong giant. He gave me a magic wand, and I enchanted away his wits.
You repaid him badly for his good gift.
A tree has only the space it can crowd another out of. Every man must look out for himself. What were you doing meanwhile, Thor?
I was in the east fighting giants, evil women, who lived in the mountains. There would be many more giants if they had all survived. There would not be a single human left on Midgard. What were you doing meanwhile, Greybeard?
I was in the south making battles. I turned princes against one another. I never made peace. Odin receives the powerful men who fall in battle, and Thor receives their servants.
You deal victory and defeat fairly if you have so much power over battles.
You have plenty of strength, Thor, but no courage. Like a prince of cowards. You got stepped on in a glove. You didn't look much like Thor then. You didn't dare sneeze or break wind for fear that the giant Fjalar might hear you.
Greybeard, you sissy! I'll kill you if I ever get across this fjord!
How are you going to get across? You have no transportation. What were you doing meanwhile, Thor?
I was in the east guarding a river when Svara... But they got a little out of it. They ended up begging me for peace. What were you doing meanwhile, Greybeard?
I was in the east, together with a certain lovely someone. I enjoyed myself with that beauty for quite a while. I showed the blonde a good time, and she showed me one.
You had good-looking women there?
I could have used your help, Thor. You could have helped me hold that gorgeous girl down.
I would have helped you if I had been there.
I would trust you about that if you hadn't tricked me before.
I'm no heel biter, no cheap shoe.
What were you doing meanwhile, Thor?
Fighting berserkers' brides on the island Lessie. They had done evil things, assaulted everyone.
How shameful of you, Thor, fighting women.
They were wolves, hardly women. They broke my ship when I landed ashore, threatened me with iron rods. They chased my servant, Thialfi. What were you doing meanwhile, Greybeard?
I was with an army. We came this way to wave some war banners and get some spears bloody.
Now you're saying you came to do the gods evil?
I'll give you this arm ring to make up for it. Fair judges would say it's an equal value.
Where did you learn to spit out all these hateful words? I know I've never heard more awful talk.
Learn this sort of talk from the old men who live in the forests of home.
You give a good name to burial mounds if you call them the forests of home.
That's how I talk about such things.
I'll repay you for this slander with a good beating if I can get across this fjord. I think you'd howl louder than a wolf if you felt my hammer on you.
Your wife has a lover, Thor. You'll meet him if you go home, and then you'll really suffer. That one's a better target for your hammer.
You are just lying at random, saying whatever will most anger me. You cowardly fool, I think you're lying.
I think I'm telling the truth. But you're completing your journey. You're late completing your journey. You won't get home for a long time, even if you walk all day and all night.
Greybeard, you sissy, you're the one who's held me up.
I didn't think Thor would let some peasant hold him up on his journey.
Here's some advice. Row that boat over here to me. We'll stop this bickering, and you'll meet me face to face.
Get far away from here. You don't get to ride the ferry.
Then show me the way around if you won't take me across.
I won't deny that request. It's a long walk. Go to the tree trunk, then to the rock, then turn left till you reach Midgard. There your mother the Earth will meet you, and she'll show you the god's road to Asgard.
Can I get there today?
I suspect, if you travel hard, you could be there before the sundown.
I see conversations over since you only answer with insults. I will pay you back for this delay if we ever meet again.
Go now, and have a bad journey.
Oh, thank you, volunteer readers tonight. So, a transaction between Greybeard, who we by now, reading the Eddas, have come to know as Odin, and Thor. Anybody come with any prepared pointers tonight?
I got
No,
a little
I
bit
just-
upset
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
with the whole you could help me hold the gorgeous girl down. It's like, really? It really ruffled my feathers.
Yeah, there's Odin talking about how much he can be like a human sometimes, right? Doing stuff and things that not everybody agrees with.
So,
And we got to remember as well, this was also context from years and years and years ago.
I got
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
go ahead till you're done. If it was a remark on the last statement, I can wait. It's okay. I'll go after you.
Oh, I was gonna. My reference was to stanza 30 from Greybeard. I got the weird feeling that he was trying to reference Sif when he said that, but it went over Thor's head.
So
Because he
I
mentioned. Go ahead.
no, if you weren't done, Dora, I want to cut you off.
You're good. That was it. I was just saying because he mentioned that she was blonde, and none of the other ones did he give any distinct characteristics. He specifically mentioned that one was blonde. So is Sif, and that was my reasoning for thinking that he was trying to reference Sif, but it went over Thor's head. He didn't catch it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I just
So
read
like, when I first read this, I had to go in with an open mind because of that one particular comment that Thor is he's just being taunted and taunted and taunted, and Thor has a temper, and it seems to me like Thor is so deep in his anger that he's just taking all the bait that Odin is throwing at him, no matter what it is, no matter how ridiculous it is. So, especially with that one line that ruffled Rachel the wrong way, it absolutely ruffled me the wrong way, and I had to go and read it and sit down and meditate and be like, well, what was really being said here? So it almost makes me laugh because he's so blinded by all the crap that's being said just to rile him up that he's just reacting. And then he goes and insults his wife, and he's just like, completely. And just the other part to that too is, I think he caught it because at that point he's like, now you're just saying stuff to piss me off. Like, you mentioned my wife, now you're just saying stuff to piss me off. It's like the mention about his mom being dead didn't get him. The bait about holding a woman down didn't get him. But he talks about Sif, and now it's, oh, now you're just trying to piss me off. When it's kind of clear he's already mad.
I agree. I had to reread it when Heather brought it up just a minute ago and said that, and I went back to 30, and I reread it, and I'm reading it like you do, Becca. Like, I see that too. Like, he did. By that time, he was catching on too, and he was like, oh no. Enough is enough. This is just too much. You're wasting my time now.
And here's a question that maybe Goldie can answer wherever he is, if he's still in here. There he is. Yeah. What? I don't know if triggered's the right word, but for lack of a better word, triggered this conversation. Like, what was the motive of Odin, or was he just being an ass? I'm sorry.
Odin is a troll.
Yes, PC way, troll. Odin is hardcore trolling Thor in this story. He's like, take my bait, take my bait, take my bait,
He's the ultimate monster. He's ridiculous.
Yup.
Yup.
Yup. Goldie was asked that, but yup.
Well, like, we get that he's a troll, but like I say, the question was, why? Like, why is he being so mean to Thor? Is there a reason, or is it just because he just wants to? He's acting like a 16-year-old child.
It was Tuesday.
So something that came to mind for me when reading this. So I was like, how did you just let him bait you like that? Have you ever met someone that just for whatever reason, just their whole motive that day, whether it was Tuesday, whether it was cloudy, whether they had red socks on, their primary goal that day was just to piss you off. And they were just going to say whatever they could just to get a reaction out of you. That's kind of what I got from here, that when we get so blinded by anger, we can start saying things that we either don't mean or came out wrong. And then by the time we realize what's happening, we've kind of made a fool of ourselves almost.
100%. I've had that. I've been there. I've probably been the person that's done it before too. Won't lie.
Well, like, Thor is freaking known for that. Like, he's so easy to bait in a lot of the Eddas, like in a lot of the poetry. Like, anyone says one word against him or against his strength or against his wife or whatever, and he comes crashing through like the Lokasena. Like, that's a good example too of where he just like he's so easily baited and just comes in hammer swinging.
Yeah, he's very vain.
He's got that hot temper. That's definitely a hot tempered redheaded man there. No,
I'm really
sorry.
interested in
You
stanza
rang? I heard
39, where it says
What
they-
sound was
the
that,
top-
Rachel? Sorry.
stanza 39, where they're talking about these women, and he says they were wolves, hardly women. I'm interested to know what women is he talking about.
The island of Lessie. So that's the island that he was going to.
Aren't they giants? Doesn't Thor hate giants? Or more
Berserker's
specifically, women, I
bride.
guess?
So he says it
Oh,
in the stanza beforehand, 37, it says, fighting berserkers' brides on the island Lessie. I had done evil things, assaulted everyone. How shameful of you, Thor, fighting women. They were wolves, hardly women. So, berserker brides, would that be Jotun women? Where'd she go?
no, I mixed it up. I mixed it up. As soon as I said it, I mixed it up. My apologies.
But I don't know of any other stories. Does anybody else know of any other stories of the berserker brides of the island Lessie?
No, and like to my understanding, I've always thought that like berserker was like a clan of men, not gods or Jotun. So I'm like, that was interesting to me too. I don't know if I'm just missing a piece of lore, it's just not coming to mind, but like I thought that interesting too. And then it also kind of brought to mind like some people saying that the gods, you know, came down here, interacted with human women, probably like fathered human children, and like that there might be like progeny from that interaction. So that's always been an interesting theory to me too. But yeah, I don't know. I can't find anything about the island, or not the island, the Angor, whatever that is, that, you know, Odin was like, I got a lot of ladies, 7 ladies at a time. I couldn't find anything outside of this story for that area either. So I was like, is he talking about Midgard? Is he talking about, you know what I mean? It's interesting to me.
So I found a little bit about Hlesny, but it's an island just north of Denmark. And they say that it could be that the waves are personified as people, so he's fighting the waves, which would make sense because his ship was broke.
We had a whole conversation about this earlier.
I like that.
Kind of. The Rand's daughter, or Ron, however you pronounce her name. Her daughters, which there are 9 of those, but they personify the waves, as he said, so...
And what did we learn today about Ron's daughters, about one of them in particular?
That one of them had a kid. I don't remember his name, but I know that he was there.
You don't remember his
name? Heimdall
was posted today.
Yeah,
allegedly, all 9 of them birthed Heimdall.
Well, what had happened is one of them got pregnant by Odin. And the 9 of them would not tell Ran who it was that got pregnant, because they knew Ran would not be pleased. Because Ran and Odin were not very friendly at this time. So the 9 sisters disappeared into the ocean depths until they had Heimdall. And then when Heimdall was born, they came back and said, look, this is your grandson. And by that time, it was too late for Ran and Aegir to do anything. So they said, okay, fine. And sent Heimdall to live with the Aesir. He didn't have 9 physical mothers. He had 9 sisters that wouldn't say who was the actual birthing mother.
They claimed them all.
There you go.
Claimed him.
Yep.
So Odin going off and having sex with the 7 sisters, or 7 women at a time, very well could be the allegory for the fighting the waves.
Be. But the island of Lessie, or whatever it was called, that was Thor's story in this tale.
Yes.
As far as like the wolf women.
You think Thor was a hoe too? You think Thor wasn't a hoe too?
Oh no, I think they were all hoes. But yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be a fun rabbit hole to fall down. See if I can find more information on that. Allegorical or not.
Yeah, it's really interesting just because, I mean, so many folk tales from all over the place personify different parts of nature. And we got to remember, I mean, this that in oceans where people traveled by boat all the time. I mean, think of the Vikings. They traveled by boat quite often. I mean, it's pretty common. So it doesn't surprise me that, you know, if this is in fact the personification of waves or some kind of allegory about nature, a natural phenomenon, that would kind of make sense. I know in the Midwest we don't get much. We say, well, sometimes the wind's blowing hard. We'll say something animistic about it, but it's different.
Remember, Kiera, you're supposed to let us know when you find out anything interesting and cool and come back from your rabbit holes with them. You do always update us, whether it's in the chats or...
I try.
Rabbit holes. I like it.
I do. I like a good rabbit hole.
Love it. These are really
So
good
who did
topics.
Sif have an affair with?
Loki, allegedly.
Ah.
Which is, like that could have led to the cutting off of her hair, perhaps, because why was he in her bedroom?
If you look at the fighting when Loki went into, again, Aegir's Hall during the feast, and Loki was talking smack to everybody, you'll see in there that he talked about Sif cheating on Thor.
Right.
You leave it alone.
I think that's in a couple stories, actually. That's my very favorite poem in this whole thing.
Which
I
one?
love a flighting, though. Locasena. Oh, it is. It's 2 away. I'm so excited.
I had up at some point on my computer Matt's plan. I don't know if I still do or not.
I got it if you don't.
Excellent. I don't know that we're necessarily done. Did anybody have any other topic pointers, discussions, random outbursts, needs, want, desires that book club can handle? Disclaimer that book club can handle.
I didn't really have any points of discussion. I just think it's a very interesting, look at who these guys are as, characters in the story, like a character assessment. Because, there are reasons that I'm like, I wonder if, all the, not to, mock anybody or, call down anyone, but, there's a lot of people who are, strict Odinists, for lack of a better word. Not, the racist kind, but, just really super duper into Odin and really don't pay attention to many other gods. And I'm like, I wonder if they, read these stories, if they know him as this full-bodied character. There's so much to him, there's so many layers, there's so much more than just taking the fallen to Valhalla and living glorious deaths and whatever. There's so many areas in the lore where I look at Odin and I'm just like, really?
Look at your onion layers.
Right.
I've started to notice that too. That's really funny that you say that, because I didn't until I want to say 3 book clubs ago. I was rearranging my altar, and I have this coin on one side. There's a Valkyrie on the other side. It's Odin. I every once in a while flip it to a different side, and I'd flipped Odin up, and I was like, you've been popping up a lot lately in book club, and kind of had a moment to myself and was thinking and was like, I literally said, you're just like Shrek with all your onion layers, buddy. And we're unfolding them in book club right now.
Right.
It's really interesting you bring that up. And you say the same, same comparison, those layers.
Because he does stir the pot a lot. Maybe not to the extent that Loki does, but I'm like, I can see why y'all are blood brothers. I can see why you guys are little besties.
Brings a little bit of that chaos.
Because I do think they're equally as cunning, the two of them.
And again, it's always fun to see Thor get a little upset. He kind of handled himself well in this one, though, I'd say.
Right.
He's very direct and caught on and realized that he was being toyed with and he was a plaything. And, fine. How do I get there?
This story makes me laugh. But again, I love the old Norse way of just the verbal evisceration. It's just my favorite. I get such a kick out of it.
Hey, look, I even wrote down next to 2 things. Hey, new insult. New insult here.
I love it. That's hysterical. I'm not
Like,
supporting that, not at all. We don't insult people. Kindness.
Yeah, maybe it's just the petty in me that I'm just like, yeah.
What I mean by that is like where it says "son of a Valdi," I was like, that's the new SOB. That's it.
The way they're speaking, it reminds me of that TikTok like video where he's like, "Hey, what's your name?"
Yeah,
And then he's because I can just see him like shouting across the water. It's just like that.
it really is.
What gets even better is the mention of his mom. That makes it better. That makes it fit even more.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else that they want to ask about or converse about for this conversation, I'm going to let our wonderful man with the plan go ahead and let us know what next week's plan is.
I have many plans, but this is the one for next week. So we're going to read the Himisk Vita, The Fetching of the Cauldron. It's pretty short, only 39 stanzas, so it should be a pretty quick read. But yeah, that's it for next week. It's on page 91.
Yay. We'll put it in chat. I was a slacker and the migraine started last week, guys, so cool. So I didn't put it in chat at all, what we were reading this week. Like, I just looked, I was like going back as I'm getting ready tonight for group, and I'm like, okay, I gotta repost what we're reading, and I never posted it ever. Like, oops. My bad. I know Matt had talked about it in our recording for last week, so we at least had it out there. I'm going to say goodbye to Craig, so thanks for everyone who's joined us for our live recording tonight. You can find it on YouTube and also now on our Awaken the North website.
Awesome.
If you head to awakenthenorth.org and then go to go to our library section, at the very bottom of that tab, you'll find Book Club and you will find our recordings. Everybody say goodnight, Craig.
Night,
Good night, Greg. Love
Hi,
you.
Craig.
Love.